I have so much love for this city, and I also realize how complex of a beast it is. And it's something that, you know, I really struggle with, of like wanting to like fully embrace it. But then there is some of these things that happen in the history of it that are really problematic and that I think need to be addressed. I am the recipient of the Newberry Library's Weinberg Fellowship. That fellowship is specifically meant for artists to use their resources and their archives to make something with a social justice bent to it. I researched the 1919 race riots and used it to create an art activist curriculum with the educators and students at Chicago Vocational.
July 27, 1919, Eugene Williams was at the beach with his friends. His raft drifted over into a whites-only section of it. Some of the young people saw it and they threw rocks at him and he drowned. It sparked a riot because the police officers, when they were called, arrested African American men instead of the perpetrators.
So I had all of this like really upsetting information. I didn't know anything about creating a history curriculum or how do we then tie art into this, and you know, what does this mean to be a white person having this conversation with the students that are primarily Black. And you know, I'm kind of coming to Ms. Chambers and asking for her opinion on how she thought that, you know, we could be able to have comfortable or brave spaces in the classroom. We worked with the students for pretty much a full semester.
Ms. White came and asked did I want to join her on the project. And at first I didn't want to do it because it was something that I didn't like to do or didn't want to be a part of. I didn't want other students to look at me like, oh, he a lame, he doing art. She started explaining how the process will begin, and it came to me in my head like, yeah, it sounds kind of fun.
We began with telling them about the race riots. We talked about the AfriCobra art movement.
AfriCobra stands for African Commune of Bad Relevant Artists. In this instance, bad meaning good.
I actually didn't know anything about art activism or AfriCobra. I know being in this school, my librarian talked about it a lot.
The Black arts movement is going on as a companion piece to the Black Power movement. AfriCobra was the visual component.
After we chose what picture we wanted to use that best represented us, we transposed it, photoshopped it, add our own little spark and flair into it of what we really wanted it to portray.
I thought as me using my face and the powerful words Black Lives Matter, that it would get our point across saying that we was losing so many of our Black young men to gun violence, and it just needs to stop.
Feelings I'm trying to express with that piece is that, yes, we need to raise awareness for this so we can put an end to it, but also this world is a real dangerous place and I'm tired of seeing African Americans die.
My goal in putting this project together was in hopes that the city would want to do something for the 100th anniversary to create a larger memorialization of the race riots, of Eugene's murder, but also as like this way to discuss this huge issue that is happening within the city that we're just not acknowledging. Early in the morning, we drove down to the site with a group of volunteers and just started unloading all of the artwork, setting everything up. We had 5 performers in the afternoon of spoken word performers and poets and rappers, the DJ, the MC. We had so many different people come together. And in the evening, we had even more performers.
Well, what I was thinking about was like, wow, I've really made this beautiful picture. and that so many people are coming out to support my picture that I painted. It was just wonderful.
I didn't think that I would be a part of something like this so young. I thought maybe when I'm in my mid-20s, late 20s, that I'll be a part of this. Somebody actually sees the potential that I have and how smart I am and bring me out to do something like this. So for me to start off early, it's just like, yes.
I had the pride of a parent. Other people are getting to witness the awesomeness that I see every day.
I made a life-size figure, and the sculpture is supposed to symbolically represent Eugene Williams as well as African-American youth in Chicago. The following Saturday, so 2 days later, we came and found that the sculpture had been vandalized and that the head had been removed from the sculpture that I made. It broke my heart. This is the first time I've done a collaborative project. I'm working with students, trying to encourage them to have a voice, and to have something like this happens, I feel like sends them a really negative message about taking those risks.
I was hurt, I really was. Even though I didn't personally make it, I really felt close to that sculpture.
I mean, you use it as fuel to confirm that this is why this work is important, and this is why we need to keep talking about things like this so that stuff like this doesn't happen.
This is a sculpture. Like this symbolizes so much more, but the actual destruction of the object is nothing in comparison to the other things that are happening. And as magical as the event was the day before, so many more of these events need to happen to make a change.
That's the beauty of art, because it may make you mad. It may bring your attention to something that you not paying attention to, and most importantly, it sparks the conversations, and art that's provoking like that sparks those kind of conversations that we need to have. Those are necessary conversations that we need in this city.
In hearing about the 1919 race riot, starting with the murder of Eugene Williams for swimming in Lake Michigan with his friends in a city that segregation was by practice, not by law, spoke to so many of the things that I currently see in our city and that have been ingrained in the city's structure, that we don't even know the history of it. At least I didn't know the history. And what does that mean if there is this incredibly segregated city that doesn't even have like a coherent history, that there are these events that we're not willing to admit happened and we're not willing to discuss and see how are they still present today.
In order for us to grow or to come together as a community, we cannot ignore the history. We can't act like these things never happened. We can't act like we're not being still affected by that. Yes, this happened. Yes, this was an ugly part of our history. But what can we learn from that? What did we learn from that? And then how can we use this to be kinder to each other moving forward?
What survived the genocide in the concrete jungle? Power to the people in the everyday struggle. Enough guns and drugs to make your brains bubble. The game is pimps a house, it's a holy hustle. Survive the genocide in the concrete jungle. Power to the people in the everyday struggle. Enough guns and drugs to make your brains bubble. The game is pimps a house, it's a holy hustle. Yo, I'm striving to survive the genocidal christening. Rising up against Satan's systematic swindling. Locked inside a cell of the system skeleton. Praying at the church where I find a prison settlement, banging out the